Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video, we step into a moment that didn't arrive with noise or warning. There was no sudden collapse, no dramatic confession, no single decision that felt dangerous at the time. Just a slow unraveling that began long before anyone noticed it was happening. This is not a story about recklessness. It's a story about what happens when a life becomes so orderly, so dependable, and so invisible that being seen begins to feel like survival. Listen closely because some betrayals don't begin with intention. They begin with silence. There are changes that don't announce themselves. They don't ask permission or arrive with disruption. They move in quietly, rearranging things from the inside. I didn't recognize it then, but that was what was happening to me. I was 39 years old when I realized how easily a life can disappear without anyone noticing. No alarms, no witnesses, just absence. I had been married to Jonathan for nearly 16 years. Long enough for routines to harden into rules. Long enough for love to settle into something practical and untouched. We had built a life that functioned well. We had raised a son, Miles, who was grown now and living hours away, studying mechanical design. Building a future that no longer required daily updates from home. Our calls became shorter. Our conversations more efficient. I told myself that was normal. That this was what success looked like. I worked as a real estate agent in Ridgeway Hollow. A town that remembered everything. People remembered your parents, your mistakes, your first job, your reputation. Ridgeway Hollow trusted me. They trusted my smile, my calm voice, my ability to make uncertainty feel manageable. I was dependable, stable, respectable, and somehow completely invisible. I blended into the background of my own life. Always present, rarely noticed. At home, Jonathan spoke to me the way someone speaks to something that works, useful, reliable. Quiet. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't unkind. He was efficient. Our house reflected him perfectly. Everything in its place. Floors spotless. Shelves aligned. Decorative plants frozen in artificial perfection. Nothing ever wilted because nothing was allowed to grow freely. For years, I called that comfort, stability. But comfort can become suffocation when it never changes. Some nights, after showering, I would sit on the edge of the bed with a towel barely holding itself together and stare into the mirror, not looking for age. Not counting lines. Trying to remember when I stopped recognizing the person looking back at me. It wasn't the reflection that unsettled me. It was the emptiness behind her eyes. Evan Brooks used to be a background detail in my life. He had been my son's quiet companion through high school. The kid who slept over on weekends, drank juice straight from the fridge. Helped repaint our shed during a summer that never seemed to end. Back then, he kept his eyes lowered. His voice careful. After college, he came back to town working construction with his stepfather. I didn't expect to notice him again. But I did. The first time I saw him after his return, something shifted without asking my permission. He was taller now, broader, marked by sun and work. But it wasn't the physical change that unsettled me. It was the way he looked at me. Not like someone's mother. Not like part of the house. He looked at me like a woman. A woman worth understanding. At first, it was subtle enough to dismiss. A glance that lingered just a moment longer. A pause when I handed him a drink. A question followed by real attention. He asked how my day had been and waited for the answer. My voice softened without intention. I hadn't realized how unseen I had become until someone finally noticed me. Jonathan never asked questions like that. He never needed to. Evan started coming by more often. Sometimes for work. Sometimes for reasons thin enough to feel accidental. His truck would pull into the driveway and suddenly the house didn't feel so quiet. I stepped outside with iced tea, pretending coincidence. We talked about ordinary things. His stepfather's back problems. Miles's apartment. How Ridgeway Hollow felt smaller every year. He listened like my words mattered. The conversations deepened slowly. He spoke about losing his mother, about how grief rearranged time. I admitted that I once wanted to teach interior design. That I had planned a different life before marriage redirected everything. We shared music that still made us feel awake. Jonathan never asked about any of it. Evan always did. I started changing without admitting it. Fixing my hair before stepping outside. Checking my lipstick in the hallway mirror. When my phone buzzed, my heart leaned forward. The messages were careful, thoughtful, a photo of a storm gathering. A line from a song. One evening, folding laundry. His message appeared asking if I ever felt like people stopped seeing me. I stared at it for a long time before replying that I felt that way every day. After that, he stopped calling me by my last name. He said my name instead. Hearing it spoken like that startled me. Even the house seemed different. The silence no longer felt empty. It felt charged. The night everything shifted didn't feel dangerous when it began. Jonathan was away at a conference. Rain had fallen all day, easing into mist by dusk. Evan texted about a problem near the workshop. A reason thin enough to be gentle. I told him where the spare key was. The decision felt small at the time. Most lines do until you're standing on the other side of them. He arrived soaked from the rain. The workshop smelled like wet wood and oil. I offered him a towel. He didn't take it. He asked me to tell him to leave. I should have. I didn't. What followed wasn't loud or rushed. It wasn't about urgency. It was about closeness, breath, a narrowing of the world until everything else faded. Some moments don't explode. They dissolve. When it was over, he stayed nearby without speaking. Before he left, he said quietly that he wouldn't pretend it hadn't mattered. I couldn't answer. That night, lying in bed alone, the house sounded louder than ever. The faucet dripping. The refrigerator cycling. I realized how easily something I once believed permanent had shifted. Jonathan returned the next day and noticed nothing. But something inside me had changed so deeply it felt almost visible if anyone had looked. Evan kept reaching out. He noticed when I was quiet, when something felt off. One night, Jonathan mentioned casually that Evan seemed distracted lately. My fork paused midair. Jonathan didn't notice. Something fragile inside me cracked. After that, I avoided the workshop. Evan stopped coming by. One of his tools remained on the shelf, forgotten or left on purpose. I saw him later in the grocery store. He reached for milk, froze, then moved on. He didn't look at me. Or maybe he did and chose not to. The silence returned, but this one hummed with echoes. One evening, organizing the guest room, I found an old photograph of myself, younger, laughing, unaware of what I would one day risk just to feel alive. I realized I wasn't alone. Evan stood in the doorway. Neither of us spoke at first. The house held its breath. He said he needed to see me to know I was real. We didn't touch. We didn't need to. He said pretending it hadn't mattered wouldn't make it smaller. He was right. When he left, the door closed softly behind him. I understood this wasn't an ending or a beginning. It was a knowing. And once known, it never leaves. Life continued outwardly unchanged. Jonathan remained unaware. The town remembered me exactly as it always had. But inside, everything had shifted. I had been seen, fully and briefly, and that came with consequence. Some betrayals don't destroy lives. They rearrange them quietly and permanently. They remind you of who you were before you disappeared, and force you to live with the knowledge that you were still alive. If this story stayed with you, ask yourself not what you would have done, but how long someone can go unseen before being noticed feels like survival. Some truths are loud, others live best in silence. Thank you for listening. This was Betrayal Stories.